Hello everybody, Grandmaster Hot Sauce here, bringing you an in-depth guide on Ashe, with tips, tricks, and gameplay explanation for how you can dominate games playing Ashe. She is a great character to counter the popular 3-3 meta because of her range and powerful dynamite. Remember, we have an advanced course on Ashe on GameLeap.com with more lessons to help you become a master. Check out the special 25% off code in the link below. Okay, so for my first tip I'm going to go over is quickscoping. It's pretty simple with Ashe. It's just a right click, left click, and then release. So right click, left click, and then release immediately after the shot. This is not as useful as, say, auto quickscoping, because if you mess up the timing or chain too many together, you'll actually end up going slower than if you were just aiming down sights. See, I can't chain more than a couple quickscopes together. It's useful to practice to get the timing down. It's only really used in my games to do this combo that I'm going to talk about now. Ashe's fastest way to kill a squishy character is a body shot into a right click headshot. The right click headshot needs to be a quickscope for it to be fastest. Like so. So now I'm going to be showing you some clips of my own gameplay and talking about cooldown usage and tips as to positioning with Ashe. So once I see the Orisa shield put down, I want to flank with the coach gun. Usually I use coach gun for mobility with Ashe, unless they have dive characters that I'm scared are going to attack me. So I use it for mobility to get an off angle where I can look for a big dynamite on the enemy behind their shield. I see the Orisa pull. This is a really good combo with dynamite, but since I don't have dynamite off cooldown, I'm just going to take some left click shots into it. And then I get a good dynamite on above their shield. So I aimed especially high because I wanted to avoid hitting their Orisa shield when she put a new one down. So one thing that's really important with Ashe is making sure you get your dynamite over their shields every time. Otherwise you just waste your cooldown. And dynamite's a great way to put pressure on their tanks and healers, because if you don't heal it, it does a lot of damage over time. So our Lucier player just spawned in, so we're just kind of regrouping a bit until we can actually get together. So right there, a good combo. Another way to get over the Orisa shield if you're not already on high ground is to use your coach gun and get some artificial high ground by flying up in the air. The reason I don't sit behind my Orisa and throw dynamite is because it puts me in a dangerous position, and it also makes it more difficult to land that shot. I like to look and throw dynamite from high ground or from a safe position, because aiming down sights while in front of all of the enemy damage is really risky as Ashe as a 200 HP character. Breaking shield is a good option, but the biggest thing with Ashe dynamite is looking for other cooldowns on your team to combo with. So right there I saw the Orisa pull and I threw the dynamite in. Also the Ana got a nade off. So the combination of those three cooldowns confirmed us this fight, because we got a couple kills off of it. So now it's really just clean up and looking to get high ground with the coach gun. As a general rule of thumb, anywhere that Widow can get, Ashe can get too with her coach gun. Anywhere that Widow can stand, Widow has a bit more mobility, but as a general rule, if you've seen a Widow up there, an Ashe can get up there too. So in this next clip, my team is getting ready for this last fight, and I am positioned top left. As Ashe, a lot of the time you will be in an area where you can see the enemy team before your team can. So it is your job to scout and let your team know which direction they're coming from. The reason you want to be able to see them, the enemy team coming, is because when the team is getting ready to push, they're usually all grouped up, and that creates good opportunities to land dynamites. So in your games, you want to be looking for positions where you can see flanks and get in an area where you can hit a dynamite on the enemy team while they're grouping up and getting ready to push in. So as we can see in this push, they're coming left side. I call that out to my team and look for a dynamite on them. That one dynamite got me like 20% ult charge. And they get a bunch of picks off of our team, so I just see the Hanzo pushing me and use Coach Gun to push both him and me away. When you use the coach gun against flankers, you want to be aware of how you can use it in order to both push you into a safe position and push them away, as far away as possible, in order to make it more difficult to push you. In that clip, I see that the Hanzo is close to the edge, and I'm also close to the edge, so pushing him off onto the low ground while at the same time putting a whole building in between us is a really good use of the coach gun, because it pushes him away and it pushes me away at the same time, and I get out with my life while my team dies around me. So in this next clip, I'm going to be showing you another way to combo with your teammates' cooldowns. Here I combo with an Orisa pull in order to get a ton of damage onto a squirrely Lucio with the dynamite. Dynamite is really good when you're damage boosted because it does enough damage to kill a squishy character, and if you get the impact damage, it'll also be able to kill a 250 HP character as well. I think this clip is a good example of how using the coach gun can allow you to protect both your teammates and help you kill the enemy flankers easily. So it might not be the best play of the game, but I thought it was a good example of coach gun usage. So I see the Tracer behind, use the coach gun. What hitting her with the coach gun does is both push her back and also push her up in the air so that her movement is predictable and easily hit. So let's go back and watch that frame by frame. She goes up in the air, and she's so floaty that I know exactly where her head is going to be. And it's a pretty easy shot, even though Tracer is a difficult hitbox. If you use coach gun on flankers, it'll make them a lot easier to hit because they're floaty. So for the next tip, I'm going to be showing you how to always hit dynamite. You don't have to have insane aim. All you need to do is place your crosshair, throw dynamite, and then hold left click. You don't need to move your crosshair at all. You can also combo the dynamite with coach gun. So if you throw dynamite and then hold coach gun down, it'll explode the dynamite most of the time. It's less reliable because sometimes the coach gun spread won't hit it. So I don't recommend it, although you can use it in an emergency. This clip shows a couple fights on Route 66 where Ashe is very strong on first point because there are many mid to long range sightlines and high ground angles for dynamites. So here I'm positioned safely behind my Rhine shield, and I'm looking for a dynamite behind the payload where the enemies will most likely be grouped up. As soon as I see the Widowmaker, I take a shot at her and then try and duck behind cover as quickly as possible, because the Widow versus Ashe matchup is heavily in favor of Widowmaker because Ashe's head hitbox is very large, and when she's aiming down sights, her head is easy to hit. So unless you can catch a Widow off guard and get 2 headshots on her, usually you want to avoid taking those duels. So I duck behind cover and reload. And then I look for another dynamite as soon as my dynamite goes off cooldown. And here, since the dynamite has hit for the explosion damage, I can one-shot Mangachu here with a headshot, so that's pretty easy combo. And then I throw the Bob to block off their escape towards the Mega, and then it's just clean up. When the enemy is retreating, you usually want to use your coach gun to get a more aggro position, like I did to get onto that high ground, and look for staggering kills. When they're running away, oftentimes they won't have time or the ability to pressure you and try and kill you. So it's a good option to play more aggro when they're trying to escape. And now, since the payload has moved farther, I need to play farther back in order to get the sightline for both the options that the attackers have to come from. So they have one option, they can go through this mega tunnel, or they can go through main. From this area behind these rocks, I can throw a dynamite to either position, whereas if I was playing behind the sign like I did at the start, I would have a hard time finding good shots on the tunnel if they went through that option. So I see that they don't have a diva, so I can throw dynamite from as far back as this area. Like, if they have a diva, you don't really want to do that because it makes it very easy for the diva to see the dynamite coming and eat it. So if they did have a diva, I wouldn't throw from this distance. But since I don't, you can throw it from as far back and just look for poke damage as they approach. As soon as the Reinhardt drops his shield, I look for body shots on the supports. This Lucio started using beat. It's a complete coincidence that I ended up killing him. Just unlucky on his part, I guess. But as you see here, I look for a dynamite, and I've been standing in this position for almost the entire fight, so I get punished by this flanking Brig. That's one thing to think about when you are playing Ashe is, have you been sitting in this position for too long? You're a very easily flanked character, and if you've been like in one area, your likelihood of getting killed by a flanker is increasing the longer you stay in that position. So look to reposition yourself. Don't make my mistake. Check your flanks when you're playing Ashe often, otherwise you'll get killed by a flanking Brigida. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be making a lot more, so leave a comment below letting me know which character you want a video on next. Remember to visit GameLeap.com to take advantage of our special offer. Learn from hundreds of curated pro guides that will make your next game the best one yet. Click on the link here to get started today. See you on the inside.